One. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Mighty Plantain, and tonight we're going to take a look at something that's really designed to soak up that alcohol, whether they intended it or not. What I've got here is a can of Old El Paso traditional refried beans and local supermarket brand, in this case Hannaford, because we are in New England, fancy shredded 4-cheese Mexican cheese blend. So basically all you need is a 4-cheese Mexican cheese blend and a can of refried beans from any provider, well, any company, vendor, wholesaler, whatever. But you know, it's your plain old refried beans. I'm going to go put this on the can opener, and I'm not going to subject you to that noise. I tried to look for the old style manual one, but apparently I ditched that a while ago, so I'm going to hit the electric, make some noise. I'll be right back. And done. Let's get these beans out of here. Oh, look at that. Now, if you get them all out in one clump, it's going to look a lot like the can. That's kind of gross. It's like dog food, but it don't smell nearly as bad as dog food. So, just break that up with your knife. There we go. Now, the can says to go for 2 to 3 minutes in the microwave. So, I'm going to give it about, wants to fall over. I'm going to give it about a minute and a half. You know what, I'm going to go for the low end. I'm going to go for the 2 minutes because my microwave has gone nuclear. That thing, whew. If you don't go on the low end of everything, it is scorching hot and it will burn your mouth and it will blow the fuck up. So, I'm going to go on the low end. I'm going to go for the 2 minutes, and I will probably have to stir just a little bit after a minute and a half and put it in for another 30 seconds. You got to learn how your microwave treats certain foods, folks, and you've got to learn how to heat it up and stir it halfway through, at least halfway through, because otherwise the center will still be cold and the outside will be scorching hot. With leftovers especially, you gotta rotate that shit halfway through and put what was in the center towards the outside. A little practical advice. But I'm going to heat up the beans. We'll be right back. Now, another piece of practical microwave advice I'm going to share with you. You microwave aficionados, i.e. guys who have been around as long as I have, or bachelors. You already know this, but in addition to the stop and stir halfway through, you definitely want to have something covering your food, because if too much water vapor evaporates from that, it's going to dry it the fuck out. So at the very least, throw some paper towels over it. At the very best, invest a couple of bucks in one of these little dome contraptions. That'll keep the moisture in. Doesn't always fit exactly. It's made for a plate, but it still works on these bowls and everything else. Use a dome, or just at the very least paper towels. Stop and stir halfway through. Practical advice. You will not regret using it. Now we're halfway through the heating process. So what I'm going to do now, open up the cheese. I'm going to sprinkle some on. Once we're done sprinkling, We're going to stir some in, and we're going to heat it up for the other half of the heating sequence. We'll check in when that's done. Now that the other half of the heating is done, we're going to sprinkle more fresh cheese on top. Lots and lots of cheese. You can't go too wrong. Don't use more than half this bag though, because then there's too much cheese to bean ratio. You kind of want to go for about 40-60. And you want the cheese to be just melted enough on the top, but enough that there's some unmelted shreds that stick out, because you want that mouthful of cheese, then the bean. Trust me on this. You want the cheese to hit your tongue first, and then the nice warm beans. Now, it's going to be great. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to sprinkle some cheese here in slow motion for you cheese aficionados. Boosh, you know you're watching. This is just for you. I'm going to go in slow motion. And what I'm going to do is get a close-up. I'm going to run this for about 10 minutes in a loop, which is roughly 5 times as long as you actually need to do what you're going to do. And you know what I mean. Boosh. You know what you're going to do during those 10 minutes. But you're only going to need 2 of them. So here goes. And there you have it, folks. Gooey, starchy, and delicious. A perfect little snack for maybe when you've had a little bit too much. Mm. Mm. That is bliss. I'm loving it. Just needs a little bit more cheese. I know Boosh will agree with me on this. 24/7. That's about right. Like I said, you want plenty of unmelted cheese on the top of your melted cheese and bean mixture. Delicious. Now, a little while back, we did a bit of a comparison with the Not Your Father's Hard Root Beer review.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for the beer, man. So, highly recommended by you. The Extreme Beer Fest this weekend. We'll be able to get a hold of, I believe it's the American